Morning students, I hope you all are doing good. This is the second part of chapter noun. In my last video we discussed about noun and its types, right? I hope you all have understood the video, and in this video we are going to learn about some more uses of these types of nouns, okay? And we will also discuss about some more types of nouns. So let's start. On page number 8, you can see here is a token to learn. Proper nouns, collective nouns, abstract nouns and material nouns can also be used as common nouns. They are then used in the plural number or have an article placed before them. So, proper noun, collective noun, abstract noun and material noun can also be used as common nouns. They can also be used as common noun. When the proper noun, collective noun, abstract noun or material noun is used in plural number, means when you will get a proper noun, collective noun or abstract noun or material noun used as plural number, plural form, used in the plural form, or have an article placed before them. Any article, a, n, the, whatever is written before the proper noun, collective noun, abstract noun or material noun, then the noun will be used as common noun also. Okay? They have described it as example. Look at that. Mother Teresa served the poor of India. So, here we are talking about Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa is a particular name, is a particular person, right? Mother Teresa, we know Mother Teresa. So, here we are talking about that Mother Teresa. Okay, so here Mother Teresa is used as proper noun, right? When we are talking about a particular person, then it will be a proper noun, right? And in the second line, she is the Mother Teresa of my country. Here we are talking about a lady, okay, and who is featured as Mother Teresa, right? When we say that this lady is the Mother Teresa of our country, what does it mean? That this lady has the features like Mother Teresa, yes or no? So that is that is why we are calling her as the Mother Teresa of my country, right? You can also see that in the second line, the is written, the Mother Teresa. Yes, just now we read that when you have an article placed before them. In the first sentence, the is not written, Mother Teresa, only Mother Teresa. In the second sentence, they have written the Mother Teresa. Okay, she is the Mother Teresa of my country. So this way we have understood that the first Mother Teresa was used as proper noun and the second the Mother Teresa is used as a common noun. Okay, proper noun can be used as common noun when you get a article written placed before the noun. Got that? Here the article is present before the proper noun Mother Teresa. That is why this Mother Teresa is used as common noun. Got that? In the second example, death is a great leveler. Death is a great leveler. Here death is used as abstract noun. Death cannot be touched, seen, right? Is an abstract noun. We know that, right? In the second line, the media reported many deaths. Look at the word deaths. It's a plural number, right? So, when an abstract noun is used in plural number, then it will be a common noun. It can be used as a common noun. Look at that. Here article is used and in the second example, plural number is used. Okay, so by this you will understand that a proper collective, abstract or material noun can be used as a common noun when it is written in the plural form or an article is placed before them, like the first example and the second example. Clear? So now move on to page number 9. Here you see, you have learned that abstract nouns can be formed from adjectives and verbs as well as from common nouns by adding suffixes. So it means that an adjective, a verb or a common noun can be turned to an abstract noun by adding suffixes. It means that you can form an abstract noun from an adjective or verb or common noun by adding suffixes. Now, what is suffix? You might have read that suffixes are the words which are added to another word to form a new word. Okay, for example, you can say in the word sweetness, sweet is the main word and ness is the suffix. Ness is the suffix. When ness is added to the word sweet, it becomes sweetness. Okay, same with movement. Ment is the suffix. Move is the main word. When ment is added to move, it becomes movement. Same with the boyhood. Here, hood is the suffix and boy is the main word. When hood is added to boy, it becomes boyhood. Okay. So what it means that you can make more abstract nouns by using adjectives, verbs or common nouns by adding suffixes to them. For example, sweet. Sweet is an adjective, right? And sweet becomes an abstract noun after adding the word ness. Sweet is an adjective, and when the ness suffix is added to the word sweet, it becomes sweetness, and sweetness is an abstract noun. Sweetness is an abstract noun. Okay, so you got that adjective can be turned into abstract noun by adding a suffix. Okay, same with the word move. The word move is a verb. Move is a verb, right? It's an action word. Move is a verb, and when ment suffix is added to the word move, it becomes movement, and movement is an abstract noun. Movement is an abstract noun. Okay, same with boy. Boy is a common noun. Boy is a common noun, and when you add hood suffix to the word boy, it becomes boyhood, and it becomes an abstract noun. You can turn a common noun to a abstract noun by adding a suffix. Okay, you can turn a verb to an abstract noun by adding a suffix. Okay, look at there, some more suffixes are there. Some other suffixes that are used to form abstract nouns are sion, al, ship, ship, dom, th, tion, age, and cy. Okay, so these types of suffixes are can be used to form more abstract nouns. Okay, next on the page number 9, you find that you know that a collective noun is used to denote several persons or things regarded as one group. Sometimes collective nouns can be considered as singular or plural depending on the context. So last day we discussed that collective nouns are used to denote a number of persons, several persons, and number of things as a group. For example, army, badge. Okay, these words, when the word is used to denote several persons as a group, several things as a group. But here it is written that sometimes collective nouns can be considered as singular or plural. Among the collective nouns also, you will have to recognize that which is singular and which is plural. It can be considered. Okay, it can be considered that which one is singular and which one is plural. Collective noun is written for a group. Okay, but in the group also, in the groups also, in the collective nouns also, you can consider as singular and plural. You can differentiate singular and plural. How? Depending on the context, depending on the situation of the sentence. Okay, depending on the situation of the text, you will understand that there is a difference between the singular or plural number in the collective noun. Okay, for example, the jury agrees that the accused is guilty. Here, jury acts as a unit. Here, jury acts as a unit. How they have understood? Look at the word agrees. Jury agrees. When we write agrees, when we talk about a single number, a singular number, then we write s or es with the verb. You know that, right? We add s or es with the verb when the subject is singular. So jury is singular here. Understood? You can identify, right? Jury is a collective noun. The word jury is a collective noun or not? Jury is a collective noun because jury means a group of people, a group of judges, you can say. Okay, so this is a group and jury is a collective noun, right? But you can identify that jury is singular. Jury is, the word jury is used here as a singular number or plural number. You can understand by looking at the verb used. Jury agrees. By agrees, we understood that jury is a singular number here. Okay, and in the second line, the jury disagree that the accused is guilty. The jury disagree that the accused is guilty. Here jury acts as a unit, but the people in the jury are acting as individuals. Here the word jury is a collective noun. Here also the word jury is a collective noun or not? Yes. Jury acts as a unit. Here also jury is acting as a unit. The word jury is acting as a unit, a group of some people, some persons. Okay, but the people in the jury here, the persons in the jury are acting individually. Okay, here you can say disagree. Disagree. No s or es written there. Okay, so here disagree is written. That means that jury is used as plural form. Jury is used in the plural form because with the plural number we don't add s or es with the verb. Okay, so by this you will understand that the collective noun is used in the singular number or plural number. It's a tricky. Okay, it's a trick to understand. So our next topic is the classification of nouns on the basis of gender on page number 10. Look, nouns may be in the masculine, feminine, neuter or common gender. Okay, you can classify nouns on the basis of gender in 4 categories: masculine, feminine, neuter or common. So how will you identify these types? Look at the definitions. A noun is said to be in the masculine gender if it refers to a male. Okay, so when you find a noun which is denoting a male, purush jati, okay, then you will find that this will be a masculine gender. Okay, the noun will be masculine gender. For example, men, okay, tiger, uncle. Okay, these words are denoting males, right? Purush jati. So these words, these nouns are masculine gender. What will be the gender of the noun? Masculine. How will you understand? If you get males, okay, chele jati, purush jati, ladke. Okay, among the animals also, male animals. Okay, and among the human being also or anything. If you find that something is, the noun is denoting a male, then you will find that it will be a masculine gender. Got that? So the second category is feminine gender. A noun is said to be in the feminine gender if it refers to a female, opposite to the masculine gender. When you find a noun and the noun denotes to female, me jati, mohila, okay, then the noun will be feminine gender. In the animals also, human being also or anything, if you identify that the noun is talking about a female, okay, mohila, ladki, then the noun will be feminine gender. For example, woman, tiger is aunt. Okay, man is denoting to a male and woman is female. So man is masculine and woman is feminine. Our next category is neuter gender. A noun is said to be in the neuter gender if it refers to things that are neither male nor female. Okay? If you find a noun which is not denoting male or female, that means you cannot identify whether it is male or female. Okay? You cannot identify. समझ में नहीं आएगा कि ये पुरुष है या महिला. Okay? So then nouns referring to, these nouns will be the neuter gender when you cannot identify. Okay, the word is not denoting anything like male or female, then it will be a neuter gender. For example, nouns referring to non-living things are of the neuter gender. Nouns referring to non-living things. The non-living things means which don't have life. This kind of nouns will be neuter gender because you cannot identify whether it's male or female. For example, stone. Can you identify it as stone? A stone is a masculine gender or feminine gender? No. Stone is a non-living thing. Grass, sand, these are non-living things, and these cannot be identified as a male or female. Whether grass is plant, for being plant, it's a living thing, but this is not our topic here. This is a topic from EVS, so leave the topic. Here we cannot identify grass as a male or female, right? But the question is not about living or non-living. You can just go on that stone, grass, sand cannot be, these types of word cannot be identified. This kind of nouns cannot be identified as a male or female, so you cannot identify that which gender is this, right? So these are called neuter gender. Okay, and our next category is common gender. A noun is said to be in the common gender if what it refers to can be both a male and a female. So when you find a noun, and you will get that the word, the noun is can be referred to a male and also a female. If it refers both male and female, means you'll get more clear about with the examples. Look at the examples. Student, orphan, baby, neighbor. Student. By the word student, it can be a male also and female also, right? So this is a common gender. Orphan. You cannot identify orphan. Orphan can be a male also and female also. So this is a common gender. Baby. It can be a baby boy or a baby girl, right? Neighbor. It can be a male or female. Okay, both. So the nouns which can be male or female, which is not clear, it can be a male or female, then it will be a common gender. Got that? Now look at the token on page number 11. Objects associated with strength and power are sometimes regarded as male. Sometimes it is used, and it is usual that some objects which are associated, which are linked with strength and power, okay, they are sometimes regarded as male. For example, sun, death, these are regarded as male. Okay, sun and death are regarded as they are male. We don't know that whether they are male or not. Then also these words, these nouns are used as male, masculine gender. Okay, and some objects which are associated with beauty and gentleness are usually regarded as female, and objects which are associated with beauty and gentleness, these are associated with, these are usually regarded as female, feminine gender. For example, nature, earth, we say mother earth, right? Mother nature, right? So they normally we cannot identify whether nature or earth are feminine gender or masculine gender, but it is usual that we say mother nature, mother earth, so these are feminine gender, right? We don't say father nature, father earth, right? So these are usual things, okay? Usually and socially we call these things, and we socially accept these things in their particular gender. So our next classification of noun is on the basis of number, okay, is on the basis of numbers. In English, a noun can be either singular or plural number, okay? In English we can have a singular noun or a plural noun. It's very easy, you might have read that earlier. When we speak about one person, one animal or one thing, we use the noun in the singular form, okay? When you speak about one person, one animal or one thing, then it's a singular noun. For example, boy, tiger, box. We are talking about boy means one boy, okay, one tiger, one box. And if we have to write in plural number, then you will have to write boys, right? So when we speak about two or more people, animal or things, we use the noun in the plural form, okay? So when we need to speak about two or more people, animal or thing, then we will have to use the noun in the plural form. For example, boys, tigers, boxes, like this, right? We use the plural form when we want to speak about two or more things or people. So now we are going to discuss about some more rules regarding the number of nouns, singular or plural noun. We have some more rules, okay, on page number 14. First one is, compound nouns generally form their plurals by adding s to the main noun. For example, father-in-law, stepdaughter, okay? So how what is compound noun? First of all, compound nouns are the nouns which are used by adding two or more existing nouns, okay? I mean, two or more words or two or more nouns are added together to form a new noun that will become a compound noun. Understood? So you can have examples here, right? Father-in-law, father-in-law, they are three different words, and when they are combined together they became father-in-law, which is a compound noun. And stepdaughter, step is word, another word, and daughter is another word, and when it becomes, I mean when it combines, it becomes stepdaughter, which is a compound noun. So compound nouns are generally, compound nouns generally form their plurals by adding s to the main noun, okay? In these three words, father-in-law, which is the main word? Father, okay? Father is the main person we are talking about, right? Father-in-law, then father is the main person, main noun, main word here, okay? So s is added with the word father, okay? We cannot add s with law, and it will not become father-in-laws. No, when you want to write father-in-law in plural number, then you will have to add s with the word father, because father-in-law is a compound noun and the main word here is father, okay? That is why you will have to add the s with father, fathers-in-law, it becomes a plural number, okay? Stepdaughter, daughter is the main word, step is along with the word daughter, and which is the main word about whom we are talking? We are talking about the daughter, right? Stepdaughter, but we are talking about the daughter, so we'll have to add the s with the word daughter, okay, to write in the plural form. Stepdaughter in the singular form, and in the plural form you'll have to write stepdaughters, the s is added to the main word. Okay, look, compound nouns generally form their plurals by adding s to the main noun. Okay, so main noun is daughter here, and s is added to the daughter, and it becomes stepdaughters. Okay, stepdaughter, stepdaughters. Father-in-law, fathers-in-law. Main noun is father. That is why s is added to the father. Okay, fathers-in-law. It becomes plural noun. So our next point is, some words are generally used in the singular form. For example, poetry, information, furniture, scenery, mathematics, politics, advice, machinery, arms, innings. So these words are generally used as singular number. Okay, look, furniture, mathematics, s is there, then it doesn't become plural number. Politics, it doesn't become plural number, it's a singular number. Mathematics, singular number. Arms, innings, these are not plural forms, these are singular forms. By the rules of English, they are called, they are certified as the plural forms of the word. Okay, so these are by default, by the rules of English, they are called singular. They are called singular numbers. I mean, they are used in the singular form only. Okay, so the next rule is, nouns that describe things having two similar parts are considered to be plural nouns. Okay, the noun which describe things having two similar parts means, when you get a noun, a thing, and a name, and you will find that the noun has two similar parts, okay, in between them, so then it will be considered as plural nouns. For example, jeans. Okay, you have two equal parts in jeans, right? But it is combined. It is a combined thing. Jeans, one jeans, but it is a plural noun. Jeans. Okay, we don't write jean, right? Then glasses. Okay, we don't write glass. We write glasses. Here we are talking about spectacles. Okay. And tongs, socks, trousers, scissors, binoculars, we have two similar parts in them, but they are single one things. Then also we write as a plural nouns. Look, we have added s to every word. Jeans, glasses, tongs, socks, trousers, scissors, binoculars, these are plural numbers, plural things, plural nouns. Understood? The next point is, some nouns denoting a specific quantity or amount are considered to be singular. A specific quantity or amount. Okay, some nouns which denote a particular quantity, pariman, or amount. Okay, then it will be considered as singular. For example, 3 dozen apples. 3 dozen. 3 means more than one, right? Then we should write dozens. 3 dozens. No, we cannot write dozens, because it is the rule of English that, it is rule of English grammar that specific quantity or amount, the noun denoting specific quantity or amount is said to be singular. We will have to write dozen, 3 dozen apples. 3 dozen apples. 200 miles. 200. It cannot be written as 200s. Okay? 100 and 200s. No, we cannot write like that. It is the rule of English grammar that we will have to write 200 miles. Understood? 200 miles. So our next point is, some words in the English language have been borrowed from Latin. Okay, we know that in our English language there are some words which are used, which are borrowed from Latin language or Greek language. Okay, we have some words which are borrowed from the Latin language or Greek language or any other language. Some nouns of Latin origin that end in us form their plurals by adding es. Okay, some words you will get in English which are borrowed from Latin. Okay, and ending the word end with us. Okay, and the word is turned into plural form by adding es. For example, you can say circus. Here the main word is circus. The word circus ends with us, right? And when the word ends with us, if you have to transform it to plural form, you will have to write circuses. Okay, ending with us, and you will have to add es to make it plural. Same with campus. कैंपस एंडिंग विथ यूएस पे खत्म हो रहा है ना, और इसको प्लूरल बनाने के लिए हमको इसमें क्या लगाना पड़ेगा, ईएस, तब बनेगा कैंपसेस एंड इट विल बी प्लूरल फॉर्म. वायरस यूएस पे खत्म हो रहा है, यू विल हैव टू एड ईएस टू मेक इट प्लूरल. वायरस, वायरसेस. ओके, सो इन दिस मैनर यू विल हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट दीज आर द वर्ड्स विच एंड विथ यूएस. दीज आर लैटिन words which which ends with us, and if you have to turn to the plural form, then you will have to add es with them. Understood? In the last point, look in the table given on the next page. There are some more Latin words that are used in the English language. Observe the pattern which they follow when changed from singular to plural. In page number 15, they have provided some more words which are originated from Latin language. Okay, and they have provided some rules to change them into a plural form, singular to plural form or plural to singular form. So you are said to read them and understand the differences. Some Latin nouns have two plural forms, one English and one Latin. For example, these words. Okay, cactus. In English, the plural form will be cactuses, and in Latin, the plural form will be cacti. Radius is the singular English form, right? In English, I mean, it is mainly originally it is Latin word. Okay, these are Latin words. In English, their plural form is different, and in Latin, their plural form is different. So you'll have to understand and analyze by yourself. Okay, these are by default. By the rules of English. Okay. Some words of French origin too have both English plurals and French plurals. For example, look at the word bureau, plateau, statue. These words are French originated. Okay, these words are from French language, and the English plural is different and French plural is also different. So here our chapter ends. We have learned the definition of noun, the classification of noun, abstract nouns, material nouns, how they changed into another noun. Okay, when in which context we will identify the type of noun, and we have also learned about the different types of noun on the basis of gender, and numbers, right? So I hope you all have understood, and if you have any problem, then contact me. Today the class is over. Thank you.